tonight.
I'm John Hendricks on Peguis First Nation, where an effort is underway to protect these homes from flooding. I'll show you what they're up to coming up on CTV News at 6.
Also tonight,
we are just not keeping up with the need for deeply affordable housing.
What a new report says about the steep rise in people experiencing homelessness in Winnipeg. Plus, open season, which species of fish you can now legally keep as the province looks to keep its numbers in check.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A huge effort is underway tonight to protect Peguis First Nation from flooding. The community is in an area the province has identified as high risk. The First Nation already experienced catastrophic flooding just a couple of years ago. But as CTV's John Hendricks shows you, volunteers are determined to prevent that from happening this time.
Pull that out. On Peguis First Nation, a team of volunteers is preparing to use water to fight water. This tiger dam is being set up to protect Alan Spence's home from potential flooding. Spence has lived in this house by the nearby river for more than 60 years and says he's seen his fair share of floods.
Last time if it came up that much more, it'd be on top of the floor.
Peguis is determined to prevent that from happening this spring at Spence's home or any other on the First Nation. So the community is coming together to help out. But it is a huge task. 225 homes have been identified as needing protection.
We're all come together as a community, as we are, and we're helping save the people that do flood bad.
They aren't in this battle alone. Roughly 30 volunteers from Team Rubicon have arrived to help out, and another 17 are on the way. The humanitarian organization is comprised of ex-military, retired first responders, and civilians, and they deploy to natural disasters like floods.
This is actually our first deployment, and probably one of our largest single-wave deployments in the history of Team Rubicon Canada.
A large deployment for a large risk. The province is warning peak flows could possibly reach 2022 levels, a year that saw many Peguis residents forced from their homes. Chief Stan Bird fears that could very easily happen again in the coming days.
It's highly likely simply because a majority of our roads will be cut off. We won't have access to things like clean drinking water, food.
Which is why it's critical that efforts to protect homes like Alan Spence's are successful. For his part, Spence has no doubt the community will succeed.
The community wants to get together. It's amazing what they can do.
John Hendricks, CTV News, Peguis First Nation.
Chief Bird believes a more permanent solution to the chronic flooding is necessary. He's spoken with government officials and hopes that as early as this summer, work can get underway. Staggering new stats show homeless crisis in Winnipeg is worsening. And Homelessness Winnipeg says more than 8,200 people are without stable housing, and half of them are chronically homeless. And in March alone, 104 became homeless. With more on the troubling data, CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. Jeff, why are these numbers going up?
And Homelessness Winnipeg says food and housing costs are pushing people to the brink, and the number of people who need housing is outpacing the number of affordable units available.
Stacey Biggity knows what it's like to be homeless.
Oh, heck yeah. There was a time, definitely. You know what I mean? It was hard. Nobody wanted you nowhere. Nobody trusted you.
Clean and sober for 7 years, she found a place to call home, but some of her friends aren't as lucky.
I see them a lot. You know what I mean? It hurts. It's hard. It's hard to see them like that.
Biggity says the problem is only getting worse, and new data from End Homelessness Winnipeg shows just how much.
Really a wake-up call for all of us.
The organization says more than 8,200 people have no stable housing in Winnipeg. Of those, more than 4,400 are chronically homeless, a jump of 104 in March alone. The overall number represents those staying in shelters, moving between temporary locations, or living on the streets.
And that is a trend that we need to stop. And we're only going to be able to stop it if we collectively work together.
The nonprofit says the number of people becoming homeless is outpacing the availability of deeply affordable housing with wraparound supports.
Costs are getting higher, and income is just not keeping pace with the cost of housing, and that is pushing more and more people to the edges of homelessness.
The province says more than 1,600 social or affordable housing units have been built, are under construction or being planned, and 214 people have been moved from encampments into housing as part of the Your Way Home strategy.
These are folks that were, didn't have dignified, safe, affordable housing that are now receiving wraparound supports.
Stacey Biggity hopes more housing is coming because the numbers are even a shock to her.
It's crazy. It shouldn't be that high. That's sad. It shouldn't be that way for people.
Mayor Scott Gillingham's office says over the past 4 years, the city has approved new housing and helped fund more than 2,600 affordable and rent-geared-to-income units.
Jeff, why were these numbers released today?
Yeah, these are numbers gathered in real time, and End Homelessness Winnipeg CEO Jennifer Moore-Rattray says the organization will be releasing numbers every month to see if things are improving or not.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. The City of Winnipeg is showing a better than expected year-end financial report. The operating budget, or General Revenue Fund, closed 2025 with a $14.3 million deficit. That was partly due to heavy snowfall and an unexpected $7 million legal settlement. The city notes, despite pressures, it achieved its $51.8 million savings target. Of note, water and sewer operations had a $67 million positive variance due to improved billing and increased summer water consumption, while transit's revenue was $4 million higher than budgeted. The report will be reviewed by the Finance Committee Friday. And it's not just the city itself finding savings. The Winnipeg Police Service came in $1.7 million under budget to close out 2025, despite expenses that exceeded what was budgeted for. The force's fourth quarter report credits a number of factors, including overtime savings, lower than expected fuel costs, and increased special duty revenue. Now, on top of that, there were far fewer homicides than in past years, meaning less money had to be spent on investigations. And the police service received significant funding from the province in response to the influx of wildfire evacuees last summer. All of that helped offset what would have been a $14.5 million budget shortfall. The report will also be presented at Friday's Finance Committee meeting. The week Manitoba campers have waited all year for is here. It marks the start of Campground Reservation Week today. The province is now taking reservations for cabins, yurts, and group use areas. The process continues tomorrow when reservations open for campsites at Birds Hill, Winnipeg Beach, and Grand Beach. Then on Wednesday, you can begin reserving campsites at Whiteshell Provincial Park. On Thursday, reservations get underway for northern and western regions. And then on Friday, it all wraps up when all of the remaining campgrounds come into play, including Birch Point, Camp Morton, and Hecla. Reservations begin at 7 a.m. and can be made online through the province's website or over the phone. All right, Colleen Brady joins us now with the first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. A little gloomy start to the work week, but I'm sure a lot of people anxiously waiting for camping season.
No doubt, chomping at the bit. But we finally saw some sunshine late this afternoon here in Winnipeg. But you can see it's almost like layered. We have some clearing followed by clouds. A little north, it's clearing again. A little cloudier further north than that, and so on, right up to the northern border and east into northwestern Ontario. So pretty benign weather, at least for the next few hours. But there is snow heading to Manitoba, and a particularly substantial system headed our way. I'll show you where that is coming and when that's expected. As for Winnipeg, well, we're in for a wild weather ride. We'll have sunshine and soaring temperatures, but I'll just say this, enjoy it while it lasts, because things will be changing quickly there too. More on that to come, but for now, let's take a look at the CTV Live Eye. It's brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now, finally some blue sky. It's 4 degrees, winds out of the north-northeast at 18 kilometers an hour. The pressure is dropping and the humidity right now, merrily, is 69%.
Thanks, Colleen. Several schools in the Brandon School Division were thrown into hold and secure this afternoon as police responded to a weapons threat. That threat was connected to Neelan High School, but a number of other schools were also put into hold and secures as a precaution. A suspect was arrested shortly after 1 this afternoon. Police say its investigation is ongoing, but there is no further risk to the community. Two men are facing charges tonight after First Nations safety officers say they were found with jerry cans full of liquor in a dry community. It happened shortly after midnight last Tuesday near Bunny Bonniebee Cree Nation. According to RCMP, the pair didn't make it very far after they were spotted by safety officers when their snowmobiles broke down. The suspects, aged 46 and 22, were detained and allegedly in possession of cash and a small amount of what is believed to be cocaine, in addition to buckets of booze. They're charged with possession of a controlled substance and possession of property obtained by crime, in addition to offenses under the Liquor, Gaming and Cannabis Control Act. The province is introducing a new workplace safety regulation for large construction sites next year. Hot water for hand washing will be required. Industrial, commercial and institutional projects that have more than 25 workers, exceed 600 square meters, or are in more than 3 stories high will be required to provide hot water throughout the entire construction process. The Manitoba government says the move aims to improve hygiene and working conditions on job sites. The new requirement goes into effect on April 1st next year. First Nation groups and community leaders are gathering in Winnipeg this week to share ideas and learn from real-world examples of how to shore up the energy grid. The First Nations-led Energy Readiness Forum is bringing together leadership, energy advocates, and technical experts to explore the importance of energy sovereignty and how to move projects from the drawing board into reality. It could include how to secure funding, the potential of solar and wind energy, and job training.
A lot of our communities suffer power outages almost annually, and numbers vary from community to community, from geographic locations. So we're looking at, how do we empower our communities to start thinking outside the box, working with the right folks, whether it's government or hydro or whoever, to look at solutions, community-driven solutions.
Coordinator Greg McIver says energy security is the first step towards other avenues which would benefit remote communities, such as developing greenhouses. The conference continues tomorrow. It's being hosted by Barons River First Nation. Well, grab your fishing rod because a once banned species is up for catch. According to Manitoba's 2026 Angler's Guide, you can now reel in largemouth bass. The provincial possession limit is 4, although there are select lakes where it is still 0. In general, the size should not exceed 45 centimeters, but there are some exceptions. A provincial spokesperson says largemouth bass are not native to our province and actually pose a risk to native fish. So this change is being made to help keep the population in check. And in some areas, such as the Hunt Lake area in the White Shell, there are no possession or size limits. The FIFA World Cup kicks off in just under 2 months, and while Winnipeg is not one of the host cities, we are still getting a chance to share in some of the festivities.
3, 2, 1.
Soccer fans got the chance to see the FIFA World Cup original trophy today as a multi-city tour made a stop in Memorial Park. The event includes appearances by the FIFA World Cup 2026 mascots, live entertainment, games, and a Coca-Cola sampling station. Officials say the tour is all about bringing the World Cup to Canada.
Bringing it to all corners of our country, wrapping the World Cup and the Canadian flag, our diversity, our vast geography, but also understanding that what it means to every individual in this country. And
Winnipeg is one of 7 Canadian cities across 75 stops on the trophy tour. It wraps up at 10 o'clock tonight. While free, tickets are required. The FIFA World Cup takes place June 11th to July 19th with games in 16 cities across Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Still to come tonight, the U.S. president ratchets up pressure on Iran as experts warn the plan could backfire.
Absolutely, we're escalating the conflict. That is really the intent, escalation. But to what point?
The latest on the conflict and how Donald Trump is trying to force Iran back to the negotiating table. Plus, the Carney Liberals look to take majority status with a couple of big by-elections underway tonight. All those stories and more when we return. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil added $2.51. The loonie rose to 72.40 cents U.S. Gold futures lost $20. The TSX closed 183 points higher. The Dow Jones and Nasdaq added 301 and 280 points, respectively. Mounting international concern tonight over the impact of the American military blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. It took effect today and stretches all the way down Iran's coastline, with access in and out of Iranian ports restricted. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver with the ongoing threat and this new phase of the war.
Surged Monday above $100 a barrel as U.S. Navy ships began blocking the Strait of Hormuz, stopping all vessels from entering or exiting Iranian ports.
We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing.
Since the war began, Iran has heavily restricted access to the Strait of Hormuz, a key waterway through which 20% of traded oil normally passes. President Donald Trump says the U.S. doesn't need the strait and that his latest move in the region will get Iran back to the negotiating table after talks broke down this weekend over Iran's refusal to end its nuclear program.
Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. And we agreed to a lot of things, but they didn't agree to that. And I think they will agree to it. I'm almost sure of it. In fact, I am sure of it. If they don't agree, there's no deal.
The new U.S. blockade seeks to starve Iran of an estimated $200 million a day in oil reserves, a form of economic pressure experts say could backfire. Iran has threatened to strike any vessel that it believes is violating the two-week ceasefire.
Absolutely, we're escalating the conflict. And that is really the intent, escalation. But to what point?
Experts say the blockade likely goes against international law, and several U.S. allies, including Spain, France, Turkey, and the UK, have criticized Trump's move.
My guide from the start of this conflict has always been our national interest. That's why we stayed out of the war and why we continue to stay out of the war.
Economists say Canadians can expect to see higher inflation over the coming months, even if this fight over the strait is somehow solved within days. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Israeli forces are now deeper inside southern Lebanon, according to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Earlier today, rescuers were trying to clear debris from an Israeli airstrike in the city of Tyre. According to reports, Israeli troops launched the attack to seize a town from Hezbollah fighters. It comes on the eve of talks between Israel and Lebanese government's envoys in Washington. Meanwhile, Pope Leo is responding to criticism from Donald Trump. Trump lashed out at the Pope, saying he should stop catering to what Trump calls the radical left and focus on being a pope, not a politician. The pontiff has been a vocal critic of the war in Iran.
I do not look at my role as being politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loudly against war, looking to promote peace, promoting dialogue and multilateral relationships among the states.
There's nothing to apologize for. He's wrong. The other thing is he didn't like what we're doing with respect to Iran, but Iran is wants to be a nuclear nation so they can exterminate the world. Not going to happen.
The first American pope stressed he was not making a direct attack against Trump or anyone else with his general appeal for peace. He's demanded political leaders use diplomacy and negotiations to end war. A stunning defeat this weekend for Hungary's prime minister, a key ally of President Trump. Viktor Orban, who's been in power for 16 years, conceded defeat after what he called a clear and painful election result. Thousands of supporters had gathered along the banks of the Danube River to celebrate the victory of the center-right opposition party. Prime Minister Mark Carney congratulated the new PM on his decisive victory. Authorities in the Western Pacific are out with a warning as an incredibly powerful storm makes its way through the region. The super typhoon has maximum sustained winds of nearly 300 kilometers per hour. It's expected to make landfall tomorrow, passing near Guam as a Category 4 or 5 storm. People who live in the area are being told to prepare for heavy rain, flash floods, and destructive winds. It is a big day for Mark Carney as Canadians go to the polls in 3 federal by-elections, 2 in Toronto and 1 in Quebec. But at the end of the day, the Liberals only need to win just one of those races to get a majority government. CTV's Mike LeCouture has more on what voters are saying about this pending majority for the federal Liberals.
For some people voting in today's by-elections, federal politics is about the person they want to send to Ottawa.
She knows what the Scarborough Southwest needs. It's not like somebody that's coming in from another area. So it's very important that we have somebody representing our needs.
That candidate is the former deputy leader of the Ontario NDP, who's now running for the Liberals.
The Liberal Party of Canada is a big tent where I see myself voicing my concerns of the people of Scarborough Southwest.
Now, the new leader of the federal NDP is questioning the size of that big tent, given the Liberals welcomed 5 opposition MPs in as many months, including the latest, who held social conservative views.
I think the Liberal tent is stretched so far now that the fabric must be, I don't know, is it spandex? It is something very stretchy when you can encompass Marilyn Gladue in a caucus with progressives in the Liberal Party.
Now, for some voters, the issues are more important than the politics around them.
Affordability, social issues, things that include everybody, cost of living.
Key issues for all parties, but on Parliament Hill, the Conservatives were criticizing how the Liberals set themselves up to secure a majority.
The government seems committed to their strategy of backroom deals.
Now, 2 of the 3 by-elections are taking place in ridings that have historically been Liberal strongholds, meaning Prime Minister Carney is likely to get a majority less than a year after voters handed him a minority mandate. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
A familiar face slipped on the green jacket at this year's Masters golf tournament.
Rory is a rare repeat winner at Augusta.
Rory McIlroy finished 1 stroke ahead of Scottie Scheffler to become the first back-to-back winner at the Masters since Tiger Woods in 2002. It's the 6th major for the 36-year-old from Northern Ireland. The top Canadian was Nick Taylor, who tied for 41st place. Well, it's official. A Winnipeg trampoline park is now a Guinness World Record holder.
I can confirm this is a new record title.
A representative for Guinness has confirmed Apex Adventure Plex Winnipeg is in fact home to the world's longest permanent publicly accessible trampoline. The record is a first of its kind, measuring in at 192 feet, 3.5 inches long by 3 feet 3 inches wide. Now, for reference, that's longer than 11 Golden Boys laid out from foot to torch tip. The facility celebrated its grand opening last week. You can check it out for yourself at 1150 Narren Avenue.
They've always been a big, heavy team that doesn't give up much defensively.
Coming up, it's do or die as the Winnipeg Jets visit the Vegas Golden Knights. And a young prospect is making his NHL debut. All those details coming up.
Well, the long-range forecast for Winnipeg starts out very strong. A mix of sun and cloud Wednesday with a forecast high of 19 degrees, maybe even 20. But brace yourself, this is not going to last. We drop below freezing on Wednesday night, and then rain is possible during the day on Thursday, more likely Thursday night, a high of just 6 degrees. By Friday, struggling to get to the freezing mark with what we could see as a wintry mix. So it could be a mix of rain and snow. It could be freezing rain. We'll see what develops as we get closer. Saturday, drier but cool, 1 degree cloudy, mix of sun and cloud Friday with a high of 5 degrees.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
It's a must-win game tonight in Las Vegas as the Winnipeg Jets look to keep its slim playoff hopes alive.
Probably say one change noticed a little bit. Their defense are really active in our end of the rink and in the pinching and coming down the walls. I think that anytime you get a coaching change and you get a personality like Torts, you can see that, you know, guys are pounding hard. Not that they didn't before, but you do see it. The guys are, you know, playing for position, playing for ice time, and yeah, they just, you know what, they're playing a real solid game.
The Jets are currently 5 points back and 2 positions out of a playoff spot. They'll no doubt be hoping Vegas has a little less fire under them, having already clinched a spot in the postseason. The Jets are also counting on some young blood to stay in contention, calling up forwards Nikita Chibrikov and Braden Yeager from the Manitoba Moose on emergency conditions. It's going to be an exciting night for 21-year-old Yeager, who is making his NHL debut.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was actually I was eating pregame meal, and Mark Morrison called me and told me I was going up. So yeah, I was just getting ready to play, and then obviously quick turnaround. Had, you know, probably an hour to kind of get ready for the flight, and yeah, it's been crazy. It's just spawned in Las Vegas and got to see it around a bit. So yeah, it's been great.
Puck drop tonight in Las Vegas is 9 o'clock.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special. CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast. And after that gloomy weekend, is it so nice to see the sun make an appearance, even though it's late in the day?
Yeah, it took its time getting here this afternoon to Winnipeg, that's for sure. But finally, we saw that sunshine start to appear. Well, enjoy it while it lasts. And as I mentioned earlier, really, there's pockets of cloud, there's pockets of sunshine all across the province, but there's also pockets of showers if you are in southwestern Manitoba. And you can see it's not just rain showers where the air is a little bit cooler. We're seeing that flip over to perhaps some flurries or light snow, but all this heading into Manitoba, as you can see, Birtle, Minneota, down into Melita, getting caught by those showers. Here in Winnipeg in the Red River Valley, it's dry further east in northwestern Ontario, dry on the Canadian side of the international border, but coming right up to it are some showers over northern Minnesota. But for the most part, it will be a quiet few hours ahead, but then we have to keep our eyes peeled on either end of the province as we get into the overnight into tomorrow morning. A low developed earlier today over northern Alberta, and it's sending snow to the east. Meanwhile, down here in the south, we've got those showers that could just clip the international border overnight. But once we get closer to commute time, some of those showers may rise further north into the Red River Valley, including in Winnipeg. So watch out for that. It doesn't last long. It moves on further off to the east, but perhaps you'll see some of that into northwestern Ontario. Meanwhile, in northern Manitoba, some of the more northern areas will see some snow. You could see as much as 10 centimeters in places. That's round one. There's a more potent low pressure system coming in behind it. But as we go through the afternoon, we'll see that snow continue across the north, clearing in the south. But overnight we go Tuesday into Wednesday, and that's where the more substantial system will come through. It takes a more southerly track through central regions, but Environment Canada forecasting as much as 20 centimeters is possible in places. Now, hopefully this precipitation, it's not just snow, as you can see. There's also perhaps some freezing rain, and then on the southern flank, some outright rain showers. Hopefully this will stay north of places like Peguis First Nation. We'll see how this tracks as it gets closer, but the predominant form of precipitation will be that snow. So again, not everywhere we'll see as much as 20 centimeters in central regions, but as much as looks like it could be possible. Tonight for Winnipeg, we drop down to around 0, cloudy overnight, partly cloudy this evening first. There is that chance of those showers overnight, really before morning. Light winds out of the northeast at 15 kilometers an hour. Showers possible for the commute tomorrow, 2 degrees. Winds picking up out of the south at 20 kilometers an hour, but more of a mix of sun and cloud, and a nice high of 12 degrees. That's a couple degrees above normal for this time of year. Normal now is around 10 for Winnipeg. Tonight, a few flurries ending this evening in Gillam. Otherwise, you'll clear out like the rest of the northeast, down to minus 21 there. But look at this, Churchill, minus 29. Conversely, minus 7 for Island Lake. Thompson, minus 12 tonight. Snow there tomorrow, as much as 10 centimeters possible. Gillam could see 5 centimeters of snow. A few flurries for Lynn Lake, light snow there down to -12, drier for the rest of the region. And then tomorrow, most areas could see showers like OCN and the Paw. Some light snow continuing into Lynn Lake. In the southwest tonight, cloudy or partly cloudy, down to -2 in Brandon, Dauphin -4. And then tomorrow, sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. Beautiful for Brandon and Ipawa, 14 degrees, Dauphin 12, Swan River lagging 6 degrees, but you'll take it in the sun. Winnipeg and the southeast again, it is overnight when we could see those showers come through. Overnight lows for the most part right around freezing. A little cooler though around Pinawa and Gimli. And then tomorrow we'll see some nice double-digit temperatures. Now in northwestern Ontario tonight, showers are possible, dried and drier, but watch out for fog. And then tomorrow you could see more shower activity with highs of 6 and 8 degrees. Our first weather photo was the sky this morning near Douglas, Manitoba. That is near Brandon. That photo is from Brad. What a sensational photo that is. And this next one too takes a close-up look at the ice breaking up over the Red River near the Forks here in Winnipeg. That photo is from Patricia. And a good reminder just to be careful around that water as it's starting to open up. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Curlers were hitting stones for children's health this weekend. For the first time, curling for kids landed at Winnipeg's Granite Curling Club Saturday in support of the Children's Hospital Foundation. Around 20 teams and 100 participants took part. The money raised from the event goes towards the foundation's speech language therapy camp supporting children with craniofacial challenges. It teaches them how to speak, build confidence, courage, and resiliency.
This summer speech therapy program, which is held in our community every summer, happens because of the generosity of Manitobans. And here today we see dozens and dozens of curlers and wannabe curlers like me who are gathering around the curling sheets here, raising dollars for the summer camp speech therapy program, improving the health, supporting kids throughout our province.
Support from participants and sponsors brought in more than $45,000, surpassing the initial goal of $30,000. Since 1999, the Quebec-based organization has raised more than $5 million for children's hospitals all across the country. Well, they are not just for kids. The Winnipeg Doll Extravaganza brought hundreds of people to the Viscount Gort Hotel Sunday. Around 40 vendors showcased their doll collections, which included dolls like Barbies, Monster High, and My Little Pony, just to name a few. Organizers say some dolls on display date all the way back to the 1950s, with prices ranging between just $1 and $500. But it's not about the monetary value. Collectors say this hobby is more about sentimental value.
I had one as a kid, and I found the exact same doll here today, and we've gone home with it. A lot of times it's some historical value. People buy dolls for that reason, but mostly it's collecting and collecting the fun things.
This was the 11th Doll Extravaganza held in Winnipeg.
I sort of began with the sense that, like, summers feel different than they did when I was a kid.
Ever feel like summers are getting longer? Well, if you do, you may not be alone. There is some data even to back it up. We're going to have that story when we return. The seasons in British Columbia are shifting, and it's not the only province apparently noticing some changes. It appears summers are starting sooner and lasting longer. Andrew Johnson explains.
A lot of people look forward to summer when it starts to look like this.
I do personally because I do like the warm weather.
We know summers are getting hotter, but new research led by the University of British Columbia shows they're also starting sooner and ending later.
I sort of began with the sense that, like, summers feel different than they did when I was a kid. This is my perception. Can we actually look at the data and see if this is true?
They dug into temperature data between 1990 and 2023, focusing on the number of days that reached average warmth for the hottest part of the year.
The number of summer weather days are increasing in length 1.5 times faster since 1990 than before that.
The study finds summer weather is lengthening fastest in Sydney, Australia, adding 15 days per decade. Toronto summers are expanding by 8 days per decade. In Bellingham, Washington, just outside Vancouver, each decade summer is growing by 6 days.
If you're someone who also has a sense that summer arrives more quickly, you're not wrong about that either. We found that like the shoulder seasons are shrinking. So the time from spring to summer and summer to fall is becoming much more abrupt, those transitions.
He says that could throw off cyclical transitions, such as when flowers bloom and pollinators become active, the speed of snowmelt, and flood risk. More examples of a changing climate on the minds of many students on the UBC campus.
I'm really concerned.
It is a little bit worrying to see the kind of state that we're in if we don't take any action right now.
Researchers say now is the time to adapt to the new patterns, which are contributing to everything from more wildfires to increased energy demand for cooling off. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Lobster season in Nova Scotia is off to a slow start. Fishermen are worried about ocean temperatures, and that's just part of a larger problem. Paul Hollingsworth explains.
Lobster season is underway off Nova Scotia's eastern shore. This week, Jamie Osborne laid 250 traps. Osborne worries the water temperature in the North Atlantic is still too low for good fishing.
The catch is not very good. Everybody will tell you the same thing.
A bad catch results in low supply, which usually increases the price of lobster. This week, it's selling for as high as $16 a pound. This food expert says there are other issues casting a dark cloud over the lobster industry.
It's beyond problematic.
The war with Iran continues to drive up global fuel prices. Fuel surcharges are now adding to the overall cost of transportation.
An initial impact of higher freight rates by the range of 25 to 30%.
The lobster industry was hoping for smooth sailing after the removal of China's 25% tariff. According to Stuart Lamont, the financial landscape is now arguably getting worse.
Trucking, transportation, packaging, there's very little that hasn't been negatively impacted in the last month to 6 weeks.
Those added fees may drive up prices even higher. Lobster is Nova Scotia's top seafood export. For those who work in the industry, when it comes to covering expenses, the challenge is how much to charge without charging too much and risk turning off customers.
We've had prices in recent years which weren't acceptable to the harvesting sector.
Sylvain Charlebois says because lobster is a specialty item, people around the world will still likely pay a lot to get it.
The problem are costs for harvesters. That's the problem.
He fears those who work at sea and catch lobster will take the biggest financial hit because of the high cost of fuel. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Eastern Passage, Nova Scotia.
Cancer experts say a new study is highlighting the need for more screening for people who survived cancer as young adults. The research says people who had cancer as adolescents and young adults are twice as likely to develop another cancer later in life. Published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal, the study counted the development of new cancers in Alberta patients who had been first diagnosed between the ages of 15 and 39. The senior author said radiation used to treat the first cancer can cause another cancer over the years. New research published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal confirms cancer is still the leading cause of death in Canada, and 250,000 cases will be detected this year. But the study also highlights a path of hope. These rates are declining across the country. CTV's Alison Bamford has been looking into the report.
Thousands of patients step foot inside the Saskatoon Cancer Centre every year, including those who are seeking treatment for the very first time. A new study estimates there will be more than 250,000 new cancer diagnoses and nearly 90,000 cancer-related deaths in Canada this year, while a staggering 42% of Canadians are expected to be diagnosed with the disease at some point in their life. Still, there's hope in the numbers, Incidence and mortality rates are declining in most cancers, including leukemia, colorectal, bladder, and lung cancer, although it still remains the most prevalent type.
We're seeing, the advancements in prevention, early detection, and treatments really having an impact for people across Canada.
This month, Saskatchewan made the move to help reduce the wait times for breast cancer screenings, adding to its fleet of mobile mammogram units that serve remote communities. Despite the progress in many areas, the study shows rates of some cancers are rising, including cervical, head, and neck, linked to HPV. Experts say improving vaccination rates could help stop these types of cancers before they start. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Koster Denture Clinic.
Tradition meets contemporary musical stylings as the Manitoba Chamber Orchestra prepares for its upcoming season. What you can expect just ahead in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute.
The Manitoba Chamber Orchestra is blending contemporary collaborations with timeless genres as it announces its 2026-27 season. The 8-show season kicks off September 23rd with contralto Rose Nagar-Tremblay performing her album Handel Gourmand, which concludes in May with a dramatic performance under the stars at St. Boniface Cathedral by Winnipeg's Andriana Chuchman alongside Persian-Canadian countertenor Kamra Shabazi. The theme this season is unexpected connections, so along the way you can expect to hear performances inspired by water systems, sacred texts, and the force of movement. Subscription packages are already available. Just head to themco.ca or call the box office for more information. Individual tickets will be going on sale in mid-June. At the weekend box office, last weekend's top 3 movies made a repeat performance.
There's a huge universe out there.
The Super Mario Galaxy movie brought in another $69 million US across North America for a global tally of $629 million. Staying in space, Project Hail Mary was soaring high with another $24.6 million for second place. And A24's The Drama held on to third spot, bringing in an additional $8.7 million in ticket sales. Well, one of the most iconic programs in television history has a new home in Canada, exclusively right here on CTV and Crave.
Bottom line, all of you should be thanking us. We took out a horrendous, horrible leader who was oppressing his own people. But don't get any ideas. And live from New York, it's
Saturday Night Live's 52nd season will be available this fall. The show, created by and produced to this day by Canadian Lorne Michaels, has set the standard for sketch comedy for more than 5 decades. One of Canada's most successful bands is back with a new project. Arkells have announced that their new album, Between Us, is dropping this Friday. Rockers recently performed at the Junos that were hosted in their hometown. Next up for the 9-time winners is a tour of Europe and the UK this summer. Former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his girlfriend were spotted at the Coachella Music Festival. Katy Perry sharing a video of them dancing together. The pair were watching Canadian pop star Justin Bieber perform. Online, the official Montreal Alouettes account praised Trudeau for his hat choice representing their team. The two have been dating since October and were previously spotted at the World Economic Forum. Your Thursday primetime lineup starts at 7 with 2 back-to-back episodes of The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins. Then test your pop culture knowledge at 8. Catch The Rookie at 9. And then It Is All Here, of course, tonight on CTV.
He loves music.
A love of music and an instant bond. How a Manitoba senior and his dog are helping other animals live a healthy life.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon.
4 degrees right now in Winnipeg. A little bit of cloud, but that blue sky fighting to appear. The sun is trying to shine through, and it is. Winds out of the north-northeast at 18 kilometers an hour. That's what I'm trying to say. 4 degrees, highest temperature of the day. Normal high for this time of year is 10 degrees on this day a year ago, 8.1. Tonight we drop down to around 0. There is the chance of showers before morning and into the commute on Tuesday. Otherwise, a mix of sun and cloud. 12 degrees, 19 on Wednesday under a mix of sun and cloud. Rain is possible during the day Thursday. High of just 6 degrees, and then we could see a wintry mix by Friday.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that, Colleen. All right, we're going to leave you today with a sweet story. A Manitoba senior is singing a new tune thanks to a special friendship, and he's helping make sure others can do the same. 90-year-old Walter Dychum is back on stage with his band, the Recycled Jammers, a group ranging in age from 61 to 90, and it's all thanks to his 12-year-old rescue dog, Mozart, you see there. Walter adopted Mozart through the Before the Bridge Senior Canine Rescue last December, and despite the instant bond the two had, Walter discovered he and Mozart shared a love of music.
He enjoys it. He lays down anywhere and listens to the music and has a good time.
Mozart joins the band during its Thursday night jam sessions, and Mozart is going to be on hand when Walter and the Recycled Jammers host a fundraiser in support of Before the Bridge next month. Raise the Woof is set for May 2nd at Transcona Memorial Church. All of the money raised will benefit the senior dogs taken in and rehabilitated by the rescue. I love everything about
That's terrific.
this story.
Really is. Yeah.
Get your tickets, support the cause, and
raise the woof.
Raise the woof, yes. Join Mozart for some good tunes.